If you're living rural, or you're thinking about living rural, or even in the city, there are certain things you need to have in your house just in case. In case the power grid goes out, ice storm. There's always natural events, or, you know, we could have a major catastrophe. Who knows? But there's certain things you should always have in your home. I'll give you some tips on some of the things I have, and now my back itches. But there's a new thing I found out. I'll get to that in a little bit. But basically, you want at least 3 months worth of food. Now, you can get canned goods, you can get dried goods. I don't like suggesting pasta and stuff now that I'm carnivore, but as a backup, immediate emergency food, yes, I do have beans stocked up. I don't have any pasta, but I have beans, and I'm probably going to add some rice. But I buy the MREs. You can get them on Amazon. You can get a 30-day supply for 90 bucks, I think it is. I got some of them. You can buy emergency food in the buckets. You know, when I say 90 days worth, I don't mean eating 3 meals a day. You go into a situation where it's survival, you're gonna go to 1 meal a day. You have to. You need something also to filter water. I've got life straws. It's just a straw you put down in a creek. You could put it in a toilet bowl if you had to. It filters 99.9% of the pathogens out of the water. I think a good number of those to have would probably be at least 10 of them, because they'll filter, they say they filter up to 4,000 gallons each, but depending on what you're drinking out of, they might get clogged up faster. So get a good amount of them. They're not real expensive. They used to be, but now I think you can get them for 9 and 10 bucks. You can also order them on Amazon. Also, when I found out, I'd always cooked with a charcoal grill, and then I bought like a Blackstone propane grill. And then I just bought a wood pellet grill. Those things last forever. I just finished my first bag, and I pretty much cook on that every day. And I've had that grill at least 5-6 weeks now. Way more efficient than charcoal or propane. And if there's an event where where the stores are closed, you can't get that. You can't get propane. You can't get charcoal. So, I mean, you can always cook with firewood and things like that. But the nice thing about these wood pellets is they burn very hot, and they burn slow. So they are also a good fuel source for a fire. I'm thinking of if I get my shop going, I'm going to put in a wood pellet, what do you call them? Stove to heat it with, because they're very efficient, more efficient than propane. And those are good to have if you want to start a campfire or whatever. Throw some of them in there and light them up, and they work great. And you need plenty of drinking water along with the life straws. You probably want to store, you know, as much as you got room for. Keep it in a dark, cool place like a closet. If you're filling them up in 5-gallon containers, make sure you have some sort of backup power. Now you can get solar generators that come with solar panels. Those are very nice to have. You can get a gas or a propane generator. And, you know, you just never know. If you live in the city, it's going to be a little difficult you can still have a generator, but everybody's going to know you got power. And if you got power, they're going to know your refrigerator's probably working, and you probably have food. If you were prepared enough to have a generator, they probably are going to guess you have food. So running a generator in a city environment, in a neighborhood, you know, you can do it. But after about a week, people are they're going to know you have resources. So I wouldn't recommend that. These solar generators, they don't make any noise. The problem is, you know, you'll have to charge them with solar power, and if you have good weather, that's great. They'll charge up. But otherwise, you know, you have to plug them into the wall. It's always good to have probably 10 gallons of gasoline, you know, in your shed. But don't get the anything with ethanol. Get the ethanol-free gasoline because it'll last longer. Anything with ethanol in it, you know, I never run none of that in my lawn equipment or any of my chainsaws. Always run that non-ethanol. It usually comes at a pump. I think my place, it's a yellow-handled pump. It's still 87, but it doesn't have ethanol. It costs a little more, but it lasts a lot longer. So, you know, you need some sort of backup fuel. So, you know, good 10. And then what you need to do is, you know, use that gas. Just keep using it, but always have 10 gallons on hand at least. And always, you know, if you know a storm or something's coming, go fill your vehicles up. Because your vehicles are a good storage place for gasoline. They hold quite a, you know, 10, 15, 20 gallons. If we got a truck, they could hold more. Fill those up before a storm. That way, if you can't get out and you need to run your generator, you have fuel. You can buy siphons to get that stuff out of your tank. It's always good to have something like that. I'm probably going to forget a whole bunch of stuff, but you just need to think about what you're going to need. You're going to need food. You're going to need warmth. You're going to need, you know, if it's in the summer, there's not a lot you can do about staying cool. But I wouldn't waste any energy on a fan or any of that. You just have to figure that out. You can always take rags and put them over your head. There's ways to stay cool. Staying warm is a little more difficult in your home at night. I got some solar blankets that I got, you know, in my little emergency kit. You can get those pretty cheap. And you can go to these stores like Bass Pro Shops. They got all this survival stuff, but you don't have to be a gung-ho prepper, but you just need to have things in your home that's going to get you through in a pinch. If, you know, just look at it as a week, maybe a week. Okay, plan for an entire week and always have a bunch of beans, because what beans are good for, you cook a good pot of beans, you can eat on that for 2 or 3 days. And, you know, if it's cold out, you just put them outside and you can keep things cold that way. Beans are very good, and same with rice, but beans are just, you know, a little easier. You can get you a fire outside or on the pellet grill. Cook you a pot of beans. They go a long way, and they're easy to store. Very easy to store. But a lot of people, man, I will guarantee you live in a neighborhood. If you went door to door and surveyed everybody, of course, they're not going to tell you, but if you really had a way to know who was prepared and who wasn't, you would probably be surprised, because I would say 80% of the people don't have anything, you know. They don't have candles. That's another thing. Get you some candles. They don't have anything, any flashlights. One good way for emergency light that's renewable every single day is you can go to the dollar store or Walmart or anywhere, and you can buy those yard solar lights. They're like $1 a piece. Well, they're probably $2 a piece now. Put them out in your yard. The power goes out, you can gather about 10 of those up, and those together, bring them inside, is a very good light source. You can put them in a room, they'll last you all night long. Put them back out in the morning, let them charge up, you've got light. So those are nice to have. I actually don't have any more here other than what I have on my porch, so I'm going to go probably buy a case of those things just to put them around. I used to put them on my trails and light up my trails every 20 feet. And there were a few times where I would have the power go out, and I'd come out and gather about 5-10 of them up and put a rubber band around the base of them, and I'd have a little big light. And they will light up a room very well. So those are nice to have. And they're cheap. And you don't have to do anything else. And some of them will last, you know, years. Some of them will be dead in 6 months, but some of them will last. I've had some last. I think there's one somewhere on my land that's still working. Oh, it's on the cemetery, pet cemetery, when Lucy died, and that was 2017. And that light still comes on every single day or every night. It still works. So it just depends on where you get them, I guess. I don't know, remember where I got it, but so many people are not prepared. And number one thing is, don't tell people. Don't tell your neighbors you got all this food stocked up, because you know the ones that aren't prepared, word gets around, they're going to want to come get your food, and you're going to have to deal with that. Also, you know what else you need is things for protection. And I ain't allowed to say that on YouTube, but you know, things for protection. Yep, might save your life one day. I've made these videos before, but I like to remind people every now and then, hey, if you're in the store, go pick up some solar lights, pick something up. You'll be one more thing prepared than you were yesterday. Thanks for watching. Happy trails.